A strange downpour caused every soaked door and window to become completely sealed shut. The man grabbed an iron bar. He swung it at the window with all his strength. Somehow, the glass had become even stronger than bulletproof glass. Then, even more strangely, the cracked glass began repairing itself. What was even more terrifying was that the outside world was now filled with monsters. As soon as the heavy rain arrived, the global internet was the first thing to go down. Panic quickly spread throughout the entire neighborhood. And they weren't the only ones trapped like this. Their neighbor Susan had just returned from a run outside. When she saw what was happening, she immediately ran to the police station for help. That gave everyone a little reassurance. The neighbors began discussing what could be happening. Some believed it was a new kind of military weapon. Others thought aliens had invaded Earth. Although they seemed safe for the moment, Jason still loaded his handgun. Susan had gone out for help late that night, but she still hadn't returned. Jason used a power drill to drill through the front door. But even after one drill bit after another broke, the lock didn't move at all. Even more terrifyingly, the rainwater seemed to be repairing the holes at an incredible speed. Jason smashed through the walls and even tore up parts of the floor. But the rain was like an impenetrable barrier, completely separating the house from the outside world. This was far beyond anything human technology could achieve. The next morning, the couple rushed downstairs as soon as they woke up, but the doors and windows were still firmly sealed shut. There wasn't even the slightest sign of them loosening. It looked like they needed to prepare for a long-term lockdown. Jason took stock of all the food in the house. The water and electricity were still working for now, so they needed to stockpile as much as possible. According to Jason's calculations, if they ration everything carefully, the whole family should have enough to last about 2 months. A week quickly passed. The doors and windows still hadn't budged. Lisa even started collecting the tomato seeds after eating the tomatoes. But the other families in the neighborhood weren't so lucky. The Max family across the street was already running out of food. Even though Jason wanted to help, there was nothing he could do. The weather showed no sign of clearing up. Still, being together as a family kept things from getting too boring. Then suddenly, their daughter Ruth noticed what looked like a figure moving outside the window. Over the next month, Ruth discovered that the figure appeared whenever the rain became heavier. But it seemed like she was the only one who could see it. As their supplies began running dangerously low, Lisa planted the vegetable seeds, but they would still need a long time to grow. Late one night, the couple was about to get intimate when they suddenly heard a strange noise outside. It seemed the outside world was no longer ruled by humans. Then Christmas finally arrived. Although they couldn't afford to get the children any new presents, their eldest son Gray thoughtfully gave his mother the first tomato grown in their home. It meant they had taken another big step toward becoming self-sufficient. But just then, Ruth was horrified to notice that something seemed to be happening at the Max family's house across the street. Extreme hunger had pushed the elderly couple to their limit. Late that night, lightning flashed and thunder roared outside. Ruth could hear a strange sound coming from somewhere outside. Lisa realized the woman was Susan, the same neighbor who had gone out to seek help, but they hadn't seen her for a month. How had she ended up looking like this? Then suddenly, the woman displayed a horrifying change. Jason quickly pulled the curtains shut. Could there really be some kind of monster hiding outside? And it seemed that Ruth was the only one in the family who had actually seen the monster's true form. The creature seemed to appear only when the rain was pouring heavily. As the days passed, boredom became their biggest enemy. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the chimney. It turned out the chimney cap had fallen off. Ruth thought they could escape through the chimney, but Jason knew the narrow passage was far too small for an adult to fit through. Jason and Gray built a simple pulley system. Then they used a ribbon to lower Ruth into the chimney. But the house was already badly run down. The brickwork around the chimney in particular had developed a huge crack. Before anyone could celebrate, they suddenly heard their dog's agonizing cries. The dog had been relying on medication to keep its heart functioning, but they had already run out of the medicine. Seeing the dog in so much pain, Jason quietly asked Lisa to take the children back to the bedroom. Lisa immediately understood what her husband was thinking. She turned the TV volume all the way up. Jason then took out his handgun and put the dog out of its misery. Although he couldn't bear the thought of using the dog as food, Jason still decided to butcher the body and store it in the freezer. It might become the family's last source of food. Ever since they discovered that the monsters might appear during heavy rain, Jason always made sure to close all the curtains in the house. But suddenly, Ruth noticed that one of their potted plants had been left outside.